I'm not a racist. I've heard this said repeatedly since the election of the Dorito in a wig. So now it's time to answer it, I think. Welcome to Bastards for Liberalism. The short answer to that statement is no, you don't think you're a racist. The reality is that you are telling everyone that you are. This started when you elected a blatantly open racist to represent you. You can't change this by simply saying that you are not a racist. That is sadly not how it works. Just like in the pictures you see flying across your screens of people standing in front of Hitler, all screaming, Heil Hitler, they're all Nazis. It doesn't matter that some of them may have only agreed with him that the economy was bad. It doesn't matter that some of them may have only agreed with him that the old political system was unfair to some. And it doesn't matter that some of them agreed with every word to come out of his mouth. They are all Nazis. The same thing can be said about the people who followed Stalin. They were all communists. It doesn't matter how many of them thought this extreme left-wing view was absolute right course of action. It doesn't matter how many of them only believed part of what Stalin said in any speech. They were all communists because it was a communist who represents them. In this case, you have chosen a man who is a blatant racist as to represent to the world that he is the face of you. You have chosen a man through his own statements, his own actions, that he is as close to Hitler from the opposite side of the government spectrum as you can possibly get. Therefore, you have told the world you are a fucking racist. So you can't escape that with the simple words like, I am not a racist. Now, I know, I hear some, but Trump's not a racist. He is, yes, he very much is. During his campaign, he never talked about any policy but deporting people and building a wall. He never talked about his plans for the economy, and he never spoke of his plans for health care but repealing Obamacare. What he did do was retaliate against the parents of a Muslim U.S. Army officer who died while serving in Iraq and was a clear low point in the campaign, full of hateful rhetoric. He said things like, if you look at his wife, she's standing there. She has nothing to say. Maybe she wasn't allowed to have anything to say. You tell me. Trump said in an interview with ABC News that first appeared on July 30th. This is a blatant racist attack on the fact that they are Muslim and assumes that they are extremist Muslims, despite the fact there is no evidence of that. He came to this conclusion because they are Muslim. They are brown. They dress in Muslim-style clothing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the definition of racist because he drew a conclusion based on a few small things about them that he could see. But his racist remarks don't stop there. This next example is the one I actually consider the most blatant racist. In May, Trump implied that Gonzalo Curiel, I can't pronounce your name properly, I apologize, Gonzalo, judge presiding over a class action lawsuit for the nonprofit Trump University, could not fairly hear the case because he's of Mexican heritage. Yes, the judge is a Latino American, but he is American, not Mexican. So the fact he's Latino doesn't make him Mexican. But Trump had this to say about the man with the brown skin and the Mexican heritage. He's a Mexican, which again he is not, but that's what Trump told CNN of Curiel. We're building a wall between here and Mexico. The answer is he is giving us very unfair rulings, rulings that people can't even believe. No, he is not giving you unfair rulings because of his heritage or his race. He is giving Trump unfair rulings because Trump has not presented a case for him to rule on in Trump's favor because Trump has been wrong. It's not unfair if you're wrong. Screw it. In the text version of this, you will see a list of websites that have been listed Trump's racist, sexist, and bigoted statements, and the things he has done that are blatantly racist and sexist, including 2 examples above, which are from the Huffington Post report. So I am not going to keep rehashing things that are in fact an attempt to try and prove it to you. Something that you as a human being should already fucking know. But knowing all that, people who still voted for him like to say, I'm not a racist. But you are. And you have told the world that you are because you voted for him to represent to the world who you are. You can't change this. You can't go back in time and undo it. You also cannot expect there to be no consequences for your actions. So if people who cannot stand racism and who do not want it in their lives treat you like a racist because you chose to tell the world that you are a racist by electing a racist, you need to deal with it. It was your actions that did this. But okay, now let's address that I didn't vote for him for his stance on race. Well, what did you vote for him for? Because he didn't talk about his plan for the economy. He left that up to the fact that he was running as a Republican. He let others talk about what they planned for the things like Medicare and Social Security that your Senate Majority Leader wants to, quote, do away with and replace with privatized insurances. What this means is that instead of fixing it and shoring it up and making it stronger, he wants to put it in the hands of a private company that has no oversight, that can go bankrupt and take it away when they see fit. They do it already. A person works for a company for 30 years and they have a retirement package as part of the deal. The company goes bankrupt and they decide that they can no longer afford to pay that money for retirement. Even those that the retirement money was paid into by the people who worked for them. In a company as a retiree, you are the last person they have to pay if they go bankrupt. So putting something in the hands of a private company, something that is supposed to be guaranteed to all Americans, something that is supposed to be there to make sure that the old and sick are always taken care of, you actually think that was a good idea. To quote my favorite men, you're a special kind of stupid, aren't you? In the text version, I will make sure they include links to reports of companies doing just this, so I can't be accused of making that up. It will be in the Facebook post on BFL that has the link for this video, and in the description of this video, you can get the link for that post. But there will be plenty of links to companies doing or who have done this repeatedly. Regardless, the government started Social Security to take care of the old and sick because employers were not doing it. Then, when they did do it, they could not ensure that the pensions were safe and able to be paid. But it makes taxes so high. I mean, seriously, simple economics. If you increase your spending, you have to increase your income. If you can't increase your income, you have to lower your spending. These are literally the only 2 options. So companies proved for 200 years that they were not going to supply the ability for their workers to get health care, retirement, and a plethora of other things. And they also proved they would not take care of the people who did not have a job. Not that they didn't want a job, but there just wasn't a job for them. So the government steps in and you get welfare, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. These social programs take care of the vast majority of people who cannot and do not work for a plethora of reasons. But they cannot take care of everyone who is not going to have a job, or who may have a job, but their company is doing what a company does and refusing to offer health care. Enter Obamacare. Now, all this costs money, and this is not anyone's fault. It's just a reality. You, the average person, needs these things, not because you want them, but because you simply do to stay healthy and take care of you as you get older, or you lose your job, or whatever. But they all require money, which means there is going to be an expense, so there is going to be an income. Hence, taxes. So in the world that Bernie Sanders and Hillary, after Bernie gave her a whooping and made her change some stuff to make the people happy, she hoped. The tax plan means the company making $100 billion of profit, which goes to like 4 people, will be paying the majority of that tax, so that you, the normal worker, only have to pay a small portion of it. This is not unusual. In fact, it's how it was until 1980, when the first of the Republican lower the taxes on the rich, raise on the poor plans came into effect. Now, since then, we have been stuck in the Republican trickle down, where they keep lowering taxes on the rich and raising it on the poor, and it never fucking trickles down. 30 years we've been doing this, and yet somehow the Republicans who started it all have managed to make everyone think it was the Democrats who did it. But it was Ronald St. My fucking God Reagan that actually started the process. Now, you would think after 30 years, the poor, who are the ones who've been taking this beating, would at some point say, okay, that's enough, and it seems like they did. Except for the fact that they keep voting for the people who preach trickle-down, lowering taxes on the rich and raise on the poor conservatives, and keep blaming the raised taxes on the rich people and lower on the poor people, the liberals. Trump is not offering anything any different than what we have had since 1980, and he wants to do it at a faster rate. So when his 100 days starts and his plans go in at 99, I'll ask you how that's working out for you and pray that in it you figure out that voting should not be about what you dream you could be, but be about what you are. If someone says, I'm going to lower taxes on people $200,000 a year income and below, and you make $30,000 a year, that means you. If they are not saying who they want to lower taxes on, you can pretty well guess that they are not talking about you. Because you will notice Trump said all the time, I'm going to lower taxes on a massive scale. It'll be just beautiful, great, wonderful, terrific. You will notice he never said what income amounts he meant in there. So I promise it's not you. Which takes us back to the question. If you are not making over $200,000 a year and you will one day rely on the hope of that Social Security will be there for you, or that you will find some help when you lose your job, why exactly did you vote for Trump if it was not his racist rhetoric? If you don't want people to call you a racist because of that is not why you voted for Trump, it will be hard to convince people of this. Unless you want people to know that you voted for the people who will hurt you more than help you, which is a special kind of stupid. This has been Sean Hilton from Bastards for Liberalism. Remember to like and share our videos and posts, but most of all, remember to fact check everything we say in them. Know that we are telling you the truth, because maybe then we can survive the future.